You're watching Fox 17 News, Nashville in Focus.
Happy Sunday morning, everybody. I'm Scott Couch, your host. For the next 30 minutes, we are talking politics. 2 Democrats, 2 Republicans. They get to say what they want, and we're going to try to keep them, apart. But great heady topics. Let me introduce our panel, and we'll wade right in. Jasper Hendricks, Democratic strategist, chairman of the Metro Fair Board. Good to see you, sir. Beside him, Steve Gill, conservative television and radio analyst, and also former White House advisor, attorney. He's got more titles than I have children, and just say it. And Scotty Hughes, journalist, senior fellow at Frontiers of Freedom. Delighted to have you back on the show. And with us for the very first time is Gracie Freeman, Democratic organizer. She graduated from Belmont, just kind of learning about that. Worked on Afton Maine's campaign when she ran for the 52nd?
51st.
51st, all right. I used to live in the 52nd, and they're very close. But glad to have you with us for the first time.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Guys, let's wade right in. Metro School Board a few days ago, I believe it was Tuesday night, voted 9-0 to support a $6.5 million settlement that essentially does away with 5 lawsuits, if you would, filed by different former school administrators. These weren't teachers, were administrators who had a beef with the superintendent. Each one says they were targeted after Dr. Adrian Battle took over, forced out of their jobs. One of those complaints involved Dr. Adrian Battle's brother, who's a Metro teacher and coach. He got into a physical altercation where the lawsuit says assaulted a member of the public, got into it with a parent, and there were some questions about maybe misusing school money, not doing something right in those regards. The person who brought the thing up doesn't work for Metro anymore. The brother wasn't disciplined at all, and the city decided to settle. Steve, you're an attorney. Now, the city's official, the Metro School Board, who did not address this, it was approved in the consent agenda, didn't say a word when they spent $6.5 million of your money to settle these lawsuits. Normally, when you settle, you've got a weak game and you're afraid you're going to get killed in court. The city said we were afraid that we might have exposure if we went to court. How do you read this as an attorney when somebody settles and writes a check for $6.5 million?
Well, that's a lot of money to settle. A lot of times you'll settle for a nuisance amount because it's going to be more expensive to defend than it is to pay. In this case, that's a pretty big nuisance amount. And Jasper was just pointing out, as we were talking before, it was a 9-0 vote with no conversation. It was a good thing nobody was wearing sunglasses because there was no sunshine going on in this place. It was not transparent at all. I think that raises the question also of why is he still employed? And I'm being told that the school board has also hired the Ingram Group as lobbyists. We just had a story that Channel 17 did that the city of Nashville is spending $600,000 on a lobbyist for the legislature. Now the school board's doing the same thing?
No, I think the number, just so we're right, I think it was $219,000
over 5
to lobby
years.
the legislature. Oh, that's right.
5-year contract.
Okay, Steve's done the math, and I was only taking it 1 year at a time. Jasper, your thoughts on that? The school board member, the school board, I should say, is a diverse group. There's Democrats, there's Republicans on there. Should they have said something about what they were doing, explained their rationale during the meeting, which is televised?
This was one meeting, so and this is one meeting that we are aware of, that we were made aware of. So I'm not sure what happened prior to this meeting, but for them to take a 9-0 vote, then that means that I would assume that they've received information that would say that it's best to do it this way. And let's, and sort of, let's move on. And then also, we don't know, most of the time when you're dealing with these types of settlements, insurance somehow kicks in. You have insurance for protections, for liability and things. So, so maybe that was the insurance settlement.
Not in this case.
And so my question is, there are a lot of unanswered questions to the people around this settlement. But that's something that the school board members are going to have to answer to when it's time for their reelection. I think the people
they refused to discuss it that night.
But the voters, they have to report to the voters, and the superintendent reports to them. And so if the voters demand answers, then they're going to have to, if they expect to get reelected, and some of them are seeking higher office. And so they're going to have some questions that they need to answer to the people that I'm sure people will ask before they elect them.
Interesting point. The only person that said anything about this, one person spoke during the public comment section, Metro Councilwoman Erin Evans, and she essentially said, this is a lot of money, and I have to defend what you're doing before council. Would have been nice if you might have talked to us us do that in the future. I saw it, I heard it, that's what was said. She was essentially as nice, and she's a very nice woman, a lot more tactful than some, taking them to task. Your thoughts as a young voter?
I think that I agree with Jasper. Metro School Board is going to have to respond to this at some point. I'm of the opinion that $6.5 million doesn't have any business being on a consent calendar at any point. So I'm personally looking forward to hearing more. There's been an ongoing conversation about transparency in spending in the MNPS budget. I hope that's something that improves moving forward, and this is just kind of the tip of the iceberg of that.
That was seriously tactful. Scotty?
Well, at the very least, what is being done to prevent this from happening in the future? At the very least, I mean, $6 million is a lot of pencils and pens and markers and crayons.
And teacher raises.
And teacher raises. That is a lot for the classroom right there. So at the very least, we, the public, the taxpayer in Davidson County, is owed, what are we going to do to prevent these types of outbursts or these types of situations from happening in the future?
And is there punishment? The school's director, did you even talk to her about it?
Well,
Did
in
she
battle,
get
her brother is still employed, and I think
Right.
you made a great point. Supposedly, the school board, she answers to them. This looks to me like they answer to her, and that's not the way it's supposed to work.
That's what a lady who is the head of Propel said. Essentially, you know, there ought to be some recompense, and there's not. Unfortunately, I think we could do another segment, but I've got to move on. We're going to take a break. A new topic. You're watching Nashville in Focus on Fox 17.
You're watching Fox 17 News, Nashville in Focus.
As we speak to you on Sunday morning, we're toward the tail end of sales tax holiday. You can buy certain things in Tennessee for back to school without paying the roughly 10% sales tax. Scotty, State Senator Charlene Oliver said, you know, we really need to, in addition to doing something to give families relief like this, and you've got kids like I do, we've got to take the tax on food, off of food. Do you think Tennessee ever will, and would Republicans like to if they had the money?
They absolutely should. Let me tell you, this weekend is great. It is great for those, the middle class, the poor. Everyone gets to benefit from a weekend like this. Now, I do think we need to adjust it for inflation, because obviously the same prices that they first put these levels of tax-free, 5 years ago, they've done a little. You cannot
So
buy.
$99 should be raised.
I'm not talking about that. I'm more the shoes. It's hard
Okay.
to find actual tennis shoes these days, especially for high schoolers that are wearing 12, 13, 14, size 14, that are under $100.
You're trying to say your kid's got a big foot?
He's got a really big foot, and I was there today, and let me tell you, the stores are packed. Parents are really out there, and the stores are offering great sales too. That being said, I think this would be an easy way for Republicans to have a win across the board and show that they're actually working for the people and not for the politicians.
And they could do it because they have the numbers. Your thoughts, Gracie?
I have a lot of thoughts on this.
There you go.
In the past couple of years, Representative Afton Maine and Senator Charlene Oliver have brought a bill to repeal the grocery tax paid for by closing corporate tax loopholes. It's not even been heard on the House floor, as far as I'm aware.
Well, you know
Before
why.
them-
They're Democrats.
Exactly.
Sorry.
We have a Republican supermajority in the legislature that is passing unprecedented franchise tax refunds and $400 million in recurring tax breaks. Meanwhile, the working class Tennesseans, who are the backbone of our economy, are struggling to put food on the table because Tennessee is one of the few states in the country that still has a grocery tax, and it's higher than the majority of the states that do have a grocery tax at 4%. It doesn't make sense. Republicans brought a plagiarized version of Bain and Oliver's bill this year that was performative. It was called a pipe dream. In a committee hearing when they talked about it,
They knew it was going nowhere.
they know it will never pass because they are favoring their corporate donors over everyday Tennesseans, and it is time to fix it.
All right, Steve, you say what?
Well, I think that one of the reasons you're seeing corporations depart California, New York, all those blue states coming to Tennessee is because of the tax structure we have. And when those big corporations come here, they employ people. That mom that saves an extra penny at the grocery store isn't going to employ anybody. The corporations with these so-called tax breaks, they employ people. They put people to work. They pay them higher wages because they're moving here. That's a benefit to Tennessee. I'd love to see us drop a penny. If we have the extra money, we should do that. But the idea that somehow letting corporations profit and keep more money and move here and grow and expand their business, that's not a good trade-off if we're going to, again, look to the states that are doing that, the high-tax states, New York, Illinois, California. It isn't working for them.
Well, you guys decide what you think, but you get the arguments here, and you get the last word.
Well, I mean, those same companies, some of those same companies are also promising to come here, and they don't. come through. And then when they do come through, they get here and they stay here for a short time, for a little while, and then they end up closing. Look at Bridgestone. Bridgestone just closed a couple of factories. Just announced they're closing.
Big one in Laverne.
Big one in Laverne, and you have other places, other companies that are also scaling back. You know, we had this big promise of Oracle. You know, where is that? You know, why is it taking so long for that to come online? You know,
Go look at Metro Council. Look at the red tape they're having to jump through to build.
Right, because
look
it looks
internally
good. Right,
before you start.
Because it looks good to come here until you try to actually.
You have to work with Metro Council that does everything to prevent business
not just
from
Metro
growing.
Council, but also the limitations that the state is putting on Metro Council as well.
But economic development puts clawback provisions. So if you leave too early, we claw back the benefits.
But before, Charlotte, before this year, we have seen before where Democrats have introduced legislation that one of our main issues is that we have to figure out how to pay for it, you know. And so we're a state, you know, and we talk about how our grocery tax is higher than most states. We also don't have an income tax where those states do, and so we have to, you know, stop comparing apples and oranges and actually start doing apples and apples.
That's the other reason people come here. You know, no state income tax.
Well, interesting, thoughtful stuff, and hopefully that's what you get from this show. You hear some different perspectives, and maybe you think about it in a way that you didn't think of before. Guys, I want to move on in this same segment. We now know that we are going to have a, you know, I guess when we're going to have this 7th District congressional race. Primary is going to be, let's see, October the 7th, that's not.
October 7th, December 2nd.
That's right, and December 2nd, so the primary October 7th, I was making sure I had this right. August the 12th is the deadline to qualify. Montgomery County Democratic Party did a straw poll this past weekend. Your friend, personal friend, Afton Maine, 42%, Vincent Dixie, 23%, Darden Copeland, 20%, and Bo Mitchell, Nashville, 15%. Interesting, it's early. Steve, your thoughts? Looks like Afton Maine is, and she really has been making a lot of news lately. She is making a name for herself.
Yeah, and I think she has the name recognition advantage starting in. I think she will be well funded, and in this sprint, funding is going to be critical. I still think the Democrats have a tough time in this pretty well lean red district. But keep in mind, this is a sprint. And if there's a bitter Republican primary, which is likely, there may be some fallout after that.
Kind of like Bill Lee.
Democrats
you guys beat yourself to death.
By the way, the other thing is early voting will start about mid-September.
And that's going to be important.
Literally 6 weeks from voting.
I'm not going to be here on either one of those days to vote, so I'm going to have to vote early in both cases. But, you know, I mean, you talk about bitterness on your side. There's already been some bitterness on our side. You know, just the other day, you know, you had Afton Maine and Vincent Dixie going back and forth on social media about grocery tax. You know, claiming, you know, who did it first. You know, so I think we're going to have some lively discussions on our side of the aisle as well.
Lee Reeves, Republicans already attacking Afton,
saying she doesn't
and
live
they're
in the
attacking each other.
Yeah. I want to continue this conversation, but I'm going to have to take a break. We'll pick up right where we left off. You're watching Nashville in Focus on Fox 17.
You're watching Fox 17 News, Nashville in Focus.
Right before the break, we were talking about the dates that we now have for the primary, general election, and qualifying in that 7th District congressional race. Get to hear from this side of the table. You know Afton Maine personally. We're talking in the straw poll up in Montgomery County on the Democratic side. It's not the be-all, end-all, but it's nice to win.
Absolutely. I'm so excited for this race. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be the one race for Congress in the country that is in a somewhat competitive district. There are 3 others that are all in relatively safe Democratic districts. For the straw poll in which Afton wins 42%, that did not surprise me at all. She has a decade's worth of work in rural organizing across Tennessee. I think that her platform of progressive values excites and engages young voters, such as myself and other people in my generation. I was much more surprised by Bo Mitchell coming in at 15%. I think that his strength is more outside of Davidson County, and his relatability as somebody who's been in Democratic politics for decades. He's from Dickson County. And so I'm just grateful that we have multiple good candidates on our side who are running, and I'm excited to see how it all plays out.
It's fun. Scotty, can a Democrat, obviously we're going to have a Democratic nominee, Could a Democrat take this seat? I think the Democratic Party is eyeballing it. We've had a lot of, leading Democrats from around the country in Nashville recently, and I'm sure there's a reason.
I don't want to rain on anybody's parade here, but come on now. If there was any chance the Democrats had a chance in this district, Mark Green would not have been allowed to resign, especially considering he's trying to go into a business to recruit government and become a government consultant.
Yeah,
they would
business
not
type
have,
stuff.
Exactly. They would not have allowed him to get out unless they knew this was going to stay a solid R seat, no matter who ran with the D by their name. But I enjoy the Democrats coming in. I enjoy them spending their money here. I enjoy them trying to get attention because guess what? You've got to have a villain, and thank you for giving us one in the 7th District. On behalf of all the candidates, all 14 of them, or how many that are running, I know they appreciate it as well.
Are they
It's a
going to bring
spread.
AOC in to campaign in those rural
I hope
Tennessee
so.
districts?
I very much
She's
so.
already
I'll pay her
We
plane
can only
ticket.
hope.
I will pay her
been
plane
here.
ticket.
In fact, let me just dial
By the
down
way,
a couple of topics.
whoever wins, they have to face an August primary 6 months later
Right.
after they
True.
win. So it's a quick sprint, and then it's another sprint.
Without the special circumstances
Yeah.
of a special election, will it be holdable? We'll see.
AOC has been here. The chairman of the Democratic, national, what am I saying, DNC, was here. Why is everybody here lately?
I mean, this is not new. I mean, it's just that the news is just picking up on Democrats coming here. I mean, Democrats do a lot of fundraising.
Gavin
and
Newsom was here about a
Democrats
month
do a
ago.
lot of fundraising here in Nashville.
And
a
why
lot
is that?
of fundraising in
Is it
Nashville.
because they don't have actual candidates to spend
It's
money
because,
here?
No, it's just
Because
also
there's no
it's
candidates
also
going.
to galvanize and to build and to start building a foundation. You got to remember, you guys have not only
That
only
was
been
my
in power
take.
since 2012. So it has been done before, and it can be done again. I mean, hey, Donald Trump became president against all odds. So anything is possible in politics. And so you have to start fertilizing the ground. You have to start building the foundation. And this is
Well, you
part
got to
of
win
that.
somewhere. You've said it on this show. I mean, you've got to win somewhere and then try to win the next one and the next one.
Right, yeah, and so it's just good that we have to galvanize. There are Democrats in Wilson and Williamson County. There are Democrats like throughout this district. It's just that we have done a bad job in talking to them and actually going to them and seeing what it will take for them to vote for the people that they are aligned with.
But at this point, Democrats don't have anybody running for the U.S. Senate against Bill Hagerty. They don't have anybody significant running for governor. Have y'all completely abandoned
We
it?
haven't had everyone announced yet.
Yeah, right. Just because people haven't announced it doesn't mean that we
when
don't
we
have
were away.
anybody.
I was about to
Well, so hey.
Well, but I feel like I just got
They
into a
better
time
get busy.
machine and went back
I've
30
got a
years.
wrap. I'm sorry, I got a break. We're going to
I
be
need a
right
time
back.
machine so I can
We've
go
got
back
so
and be
much
on
to
air.
talk about. We'll be right back. You're watching Nashville in Focus.
You're watching Fox 17 News, Nashville in Focus.
Saw a story in the Nashville Banner that I thought was worthy of our conversation this past week. They got a hold of some documents from the Tennessee Highway Patrol, maybe through a FOIA or something like that, that revealed the THP is looking very hard at putting license plate readers, which the Mayor and Metro Council will not embrace, on roads over which they have control. And that includes, 65, 24, 440 interstates and Briley Parkway. Scotty, your thoughts about this? People like them. In fact, the Mount Juliet police, they arrest people right, left, and center using these cameras.
Well, let me just say, as someone who has 5 cars in their driveway and kids, I'm not really for this because I'm sure I will be one of the first people to have something mailed to me.
Doing something.
But I mean, between Elon Musk supposedly going to be now putting a tunnel, looking at putting a tunnel between the Nashville airport and downtown Nashville, I'm kind of getting tired of Nashville being this test case for things or not. I mean, why are we the test city for whether it's going to work or not? And why are we always the one that
Well,
has
we
that
know
rumor
those
coming
cameras
towards?
work. Everybody here wants them. Council even approved them a year or two back.
Because it's more money for them.
Well, and this is just, you would use a camera, say a car is stolen. Go off if you see the stolen car. The notion that, and the argument against them is being that somehow Trump is going to use it to identify people that are in the country illegally. I don't know how you do that.
Well, it's the same argument that Republicans made, under the Biden administration or the Obama administration. Is Big Brother the government watching you, and why are we going to give them more opportunities? Yeah. Newsflash, Google Earth can do just the same thing that a camera on the side of the street can do. So.
Yeah, no, it's got a really good picture of my house. I'm shocked. It's like I wish my yard looked that good now. Anybody with thoughts on that? Jasper, you got a thought on the LPRs and THP essentially doing an end around?
I mean, I think they will, and I think they will. I mean, they have shown that they've done it before, and especially with enforcement, what they feel that they needed to do.
Helping ICE.
And so, I mean, I just think that we need to be careful, just like how the data is collected, how the data is used, because people sell data, people, there are a lot of things that happen. We are always
There's some stories out there that that's happened.
Right, and we're always getting
Around the
alerts that
country.
your data has been breached some kind of way, somehow, and so I just think that it's inevitable. It will happen only because we keep seeing the news out of places like Mount Juliet, and so
They get everybody.
right. And then there are a couple of neighborhoods in North Nashville that have them, within their neighborhoods.
They pay
and
for it
then they'll
themselves.
Right, they pay for it themselves, and so it's just a matter of when it's going to happen.
You know,
Steve,
we're
you like
already
'em?
at the CCTV point. I mean,
Yeah.
when I take a brief break from my reality shows and watch crime shows or detective shows,
They know everybody's movements.
everybody they catch is because of the CCTV. They're finding this person
Facial
went to this
recognition.
block.
Right.
So it is here, and the major cities already have it a lot more. I'm concerned with the license plate readers because, again, they collect enough data from us. When I go to Publix, when I go to Kroger, and I get my 3% off because I'm giving them my details of my little card, and now they know how much I buy of everything I buy, we're already giving up our data, whether we're volunteering it or whether they're catching it on camera.
How do you see this? You're the youngest person on the panel, and it's just interesting to hear your perspective.
I am anti-adding LPRs in Nashville. I think it speaks to a larger pattern of the state loving to step on Nashville every opportunity they get.
No
we
doubt.
have already had this conversation. Council has rejected FUSIS. We had the FUSIS guardrails come through. We still didn't have FUSIS passed because Nashville residents overwhelmingly were against it. Thanks to organizations like the Tennessee Immigrant and Refugee Rights Coalition, TURC, they talk about the way that this can be weaponized against immigrants in our community. It can be weaponized to track women seeking abortions out of state. It's part of this larger mass surveillance that's already happening at a federal level. We have data sharing happening to the umpteenth degree. And I'm just asking myself, why are we spending money on LPRs? We have an infrastructure backlog. I want these roads fixed. I want the state to care as much about how the roads I'm driving on are as they care
We're going to
about
have to leave
washing
it
me on
there.
it.
We are out of time. I'll see you next week.